we are introducing the transitional leash, now the Sidekick, tool to Miss Lulu today. Basically, the reason we're introducing this with her is because we want to create a little bit more reliable leash skills and a better relationship with a pressure and release communication system. She does really well on a slip leash under low distraction in a small area, so I took a little video of her working on that with and without some distractions going by. And she does pretty good when we're in kind of a small bubble, but as soon as we hit the trail or I have multiple dogs, she has a hard time keeping focused. Or if she sees something like a squirrel, she just will have kind of nice moments of being soft to the leash, but then as soon as there is a high enough competing motivator, I tend to kind of lose her focus and she will kind of push through pressure on this particular tool. So basically what we're looking for, and the reason we want to introduce something new, is to see if we can find something that allows us to be even lighter with our communication system and a little bit clearer with her, so that we still have relevance even in some highly distracting or maybe even stressful situations. So we have a good handful of dogs that we've introduced this tool to. For some dogs we may choose different tools like a prong collar or e-collar. There's a wide variety, but we usually start with a slip leash and then move up from there depending on what we see in the dog. So with her, I'm choosing this tool partly due to owner preference. Based on our previous conversations, I think this is a tool she'll likely be comfortable handling, and her skill set will match well as well. It also, when introduced slowly, is a fairly soft tool to work the dog through. It's something that works very well with, you need to have an educated hand in order to use it well, but once the dog understands it, it tends to kind of function on its own a little more. It doesn't have quite as much room for user error. So the introduction phase can be a little bit tricky, but after that we're able to have a very steady maintenance phase with it. So as far as today, we are going to start working this tool in the very early phases of just getting her comfortable in it and starting to understand that the same pressure system that we introduced on the slip leash applies when this tool is implemented. So the nice thing with this tool is it is a slip leash to begin with, and then when we work with it, we can transition it over the nose, which is why it was originally marketed as a transitional leash. So right now it's just working like your standard slip. It has this nice piece of hardware here with a backup to the collar that allows you to take this part of the leash and put it over the nose. So it works like a halter system. So what we're going to do today is just get her used to that feeling of having it over the nose, and start teaching her that same pressure to ask her to perform a behavior and release to reward her for performing that behavior applies to this new feeling. We'll keep it very simple, minimal movement. We'll kind of play it by ear based on her responses. If she's very stressed, we'll keep it pretty stationary, and if she's doing really well, we might add some movement. It kind of depends on the dog and how sensitive they are. So with her, I'm going to start popping it over the nose. This part's always a little funky on day one. I'll see if she will take food with it. Good girl. In the beginning, this can be a little nerve-wracking though, just because it's very novel. It's less because it's anything super aversive or painful. It's just a very different and odd feeling for the dog. And sometimes dogs will take food on it. She's a dog that when she starts getting a little overstimulated or a little stressed, she may stop taking food. But step one, I just want her to feel what it feels like over the nose and take some rewards. If she doesn't take food, no big deal. But right now she's a little distracted about where the other dogs went. So first step for me, I just put it on, take it off. You ready? You get it? Good. Lulu. Good. Get it. Nice. And after a little bit of confusion, I want to try and build her up a little bit again, so that's why I'm tossing the food, making a little bit of a game. Good girl. Pop it right over the nose again. Oh, easy. Yeah, taking it easy. There. Good girl. Good girl. So good. So good. Alright. Good girl. don't want to happen is for her to take it off in this early phase with her paws, just because that will teach her that if she pushes hard enough into trying to remove it, that she can be successful. So that's something that I just don't want her to learn while she is in this kind of uncertain phase. Good girl, yay! That's an option. So for a dog like her, who's a little sensitive, good! I just want her to learn she can move in it. Oh, this might be too much for her though. Oh, good girl. There we go. There we go. Yeah, that's not so bad. Good job. Very nice. You ready? Good. So I'm trying not to put pressure on it just yet. I just want her to feel that it's on. I don't want her to learn what it's asking just yet. Oh, if it's a little too loose, so that's going to feel even weirder. So you want to make sure it's just snug enough that it's not moving around. All right, is that what you're trying to do? Okay. Just good. That will feel very weird as well. Lulu. Good. Good. I know. I know. Very weird. Good. And this part is very normal. Good. You'll see this a lot with dogs that are learning muzzle training as well in the beginning. Good. And we'll take a break on that one. So it's kind of like a weird thing where when dogs feel that kind of strange pressure on their nose, you can see they almost aren't certain whether they can move with it. So a lot of times with muzzle training especially, you'll see the dog kind of dig in their heels and do this big like jump start. So for her, all I'm doing there, I don't want to add pressure to push her through it. I just want her to start experimenting with movement and not worrying at the tool so much. Girl. I'm going to try tossing food. This is a 50-50 with dogs sometimes by putting their head so low. Get it? Will result in that, so I'm going to use that method with this dog. Good girl. Backed right out of it. Good girl. Good girl. So I think for her, because she is showing a little bit more stress than I would like in this movement phase, I'm just going to start working on getting her used to feeling a bit stationary. So, good information for us as far as where to start. Good girl. Nice work. Nice work. Come a little closer for that. Good girl. Can you sit? Alright. So, to show you putting it on. So, it's not a big deal that we went a little too fast for her. It just gives us a little information of where we want to start. Some dogs, that first phase is nothing. Usually I find that's true of dogs that have previous muzzle training because they're very used to the feeling of something on their face. For her, this part alone is going to take a little desensitizing. Good girl. Are you so good? Yeah? Good. So I want to build her up with it on. I like seeing something like that where she really wants to engage. Hi, crazy girl. It might be from a little bit of stress and overstimulation, but nope. Good. Good. That's it. Good. So there, all I'm doing is just adding pressure to discourage her from pawing at it. And then as soon as she's relaxing again, pressure is released. Good girl. There we go. Get it. Yeah? Hi. Good. Take it off. Do a little recovery. Yay! Good girl. Yay! Yay! Good girl. Let her get some movement out. Yay! Good girl. Oh, right in my mouth. Gross. Gross. Oh, so good. Oh, so good. Oh, you're gonna be a little crazy. We'll do a little more again. Sit. Good. Just checking out the other dogs. Holly's working a few over there. Nose. this kind of hyperfixation, she sees a car pulling in right now, this is what we really want to use this tool to help address. Yeah, good job. So if she's not taking food, I'm not going to like convince her, but if I can break her focus from a distraction, then I will. Let her just process that. You ready? Lulu. Like that. So ideally I'd like to do this in a little less distracting of a scenario, but this isn't too bad. It's really just people kind of pulling in and out. Good. No issue. Just feeling both. And there's a guy with his dogs over there, so this is a little much for her. So I'm going to choose to return to a little normal work. Sit. Good. And that's that pressure and release. Pressure to ask for the sit, release when she does. For her, normally I would be rewarding after every one of those, at least for a while, but because I know when she's a little overstimulated she won't take food, I'm not bothering here. So the reward is that release of pressure at this phase. And so I think of it more as a tactile cue rather than like, applying something punishing for the dog not following through. It just is allowing me to give her instruction through that distraction. All right. What do we think? Good! And I'm getting her brain back a little bit. Good job. Right here. Sit. Nice. Start down. I know. Good girl. I'm going to add a little movement here again, only because she's disengaging. Yes, good from the training. Good girl. Let's see if I can lure her a little bit. Let's go. Good. Super. Yes. Nice work. Yes. Good girl. And I'm going to release on that because that's what I want her to start figuring out is that it's not a big deal. She can move through it. Nothing crazy is going to happen. I'm not going to apply unfair pressure that doesn't really make sense to her. So that'll be all I'll do for day one, is just starting to familiarize her with the feeling, adding some food in the mix, and starting to work on keeping her engaged, just starting to build up confidence. So day one, with dogs that are a little more sensitive like her, it isn't always the most pretty introduction, but it does give us a reference point of how slow or fast we can introduce this. So for her, it's going to be a slow intro. I'll make an update video of next time to kind of see where we get working her through this, but we'll focus mostly on just getting her to be a little more comfortable with the tool before we start trying to apply it to her training. I'm not going to expect her to do a beautiful heel in position on this tool until I know that she can comfortably just sit, walk, and interact with the tool. We'll understand that if she moves to the end and feels pressure on it, what she can do to change that situation, because often dogs don't understand that there is a way for them to turn off that pressure unless we've taught them how and what behaviors they can do to change their situation to either avoid that pressure or release it. So we'll walk through that as we go so you can see a little bit more of what I'm talking about in real time. For now, I just want to start building her confidence and comfort with the tool.